Snake Man. In today's episode on Snake Clips, we're going to be talking about sexing snakes. So stay tuned. There's a few ways of sexing snakes. There's a couple that you can do visually, and there are some manual ways of sexing snakes. I prefer to use the method I call probing. And probing is where you will take the stainless steel probes, which is what we have here. They come in a variety of different sizes. And you will take a stainless steel probe, and they're rounded tips, and you insert this in a cloaca. And depending how far the stainless steel rod goes into the snake, will tell you if it's a male or a female. Now, with this method here, it's 99.9% accurate when you probe them that you're going to find out if you have a male or a female. Females will probe a lot shorter, maybe 4 to 5 scales deep, where males will probe a lot longer. They'll go way past 6, 7, 8, 10, even farther scales down into it. There are some exceptions though at how far a female would probe. With like diamonds and blood, sometimes they'll probe a little deeper than normal. But with a male snake, you probe both sides of the cloaca, and the male will probe exactly the same length on both sides, where a female, the length will probe a little bit deeper or a little bit less depending on the snake. So each side won't be equal, where a male, when you probe them, both sides will be an equal distance. One of the other ways you can sex snakes, it's called a popping method. It's where you take the snake and you roll your finger up the snake's tail up toward its cloaca, and the hemipenes will pop out if it's a male, and if not, of course, the hemipenes won't pop out. Now, the hemipenes in the snake are actually a double penis, and they are inverted into the tail. That's why a male's tail will appear from the cloaca to be fat and will stay fat for quite a distance, because the hemipene is actually inverted into that tail. A female, though, she will be fat only a few scales, and then the tail will taper down very quickly. This is a visual way of telling. Some people can tell by the spurs on some of the snakes, like boas and pythons. Male spurs are supposed to be larger than female spurs. These visual ways, though, has never really worked for me. I don't prefer to pop because I'm always afraid that I might hurt the snake. So I prefer the probing method. What we're going to do here now is we have our corn snake, and we're going to probe him. And we take our probe here, and we're going to insert it into the cloaca, which is right here, and we're going to push it very easily and gently into the tail. And as you can see, this is going way into the tail, so we mark it, pull it out, and we can see how far this went into his tail, which means that this is definitely a male. Okay, and we can do the same thing on the other side if we want to be 100% sure. And we again gently insert it into the tail. It goes in, and again, as you can see how far it went in from where I marked it, this is definitely a male snake. And I'm going to show you here from the cloaca. You can see how the tail stays relatively fat all the way down and doesn't start to taper off until it gets toward the end. That definitely indicates that this is a male snake. Okay, now we have our red-tailed boa here, and what we're going to do again is we're going to restrain the head because we don't want the snake to bite us, and we're going to flip her or him over, and get this flipped over here. Sometimes it's not so easy to do. There we go. because they don't like to be flipped over. And we take our probe again and we insert it into the cloaca, and we do this very carefully so we don't injure the snake. And again, pushing down toward the tip of the tail, push very slowly until we feel resistance, at which point we mark it and we pull it out. As you can see how far it went in this time, basically this is telling us that this is a female snake. And again, if we look at the shape of the tail, it is fat just for a little bit ways here, and then it tapers off relatively quickly, which would indicate by visually that this would be a female snake. Now, why do you need to know the sex of a snake anyway? Well, obviously if you're going to be breeding snakes, you need to have a male and a female. But I'm not really a breeder. I do breed Amazon tree boas, but other than that, I don't breed my other snakes. But one of the reasons why I might want to know the sex of a larger snake is because females tend to get a lot larger than males. Say, for instance, in a boa constrictor female may get over 10 feet, while a male will generally stay in the 7 to 8 foot range. A female usually too will also get a girthier body, where a male's body will stay smaller. So if I want a boa constrictor that tends to be not as long and not as heavy of a snake, I would look to find a male. And if I'm looking for a big snake with a girthy body, then I'm looking to find a female.